Welcome to another episode of Millennials to Millionaires. I'm Alicia Ace West.
I'm Twee Estate.
And today's guest, you definitely watched him on TV24 if you're from the general Toronto area, and you probably laughed a couple of times. He kind of sometimes goes off the cuff and lets people know, like, hey, I ain't this average, like, TV host, anchor, reporter, none of that. Welcome, Brandon Gonez.
Oh, you guys are too kind. Now I'm blushing.
Uh-oh.
I'm blushing
Don't
and
get
I'm
nervous
sweating.
now.
I'm hella nervous.
You're always in front of mics
You're
and
used to
cameras.
this.
Like, how are you nervous?
You know, usually it's just me and the camera.
I feel that.
And then, my camera guy behind.
Yeah.
So now I'm, like, actually speaking with folks. And, like, I'm usually the one asking the questions.
So you don't like
So
being
now I
on
feel
the
like I'm on the
hot
hot
seat?
seat. I do not like being on the hot seat.
He was trying to say, can I get some pre-screen questions? No, like you should already know that we don't like that. So we're going off the cuff.
I know, I had to ask.
Well, you've definitely in the last couple of years, you've kind of like raised to one of the most popular people that we have on TV in the city because of your unique personality. You definitely let it shine. You're not a cookie cutter TV person at all because, they come pretty
Standard.
the same, pretty basic, but you have not been able to do that. And your journey doesn't start here either. Some things that I know, well, you're from here, but you actually had to leave in order to come and make it in the city. Speak about your first time leaving the city of Brampton, because you're from Brampton, right?
Yeah. Well, shout out to Rex first and foremost. Born in Rex. But
Brampton came next.
Yeah. Then Brampton came next.
Jeez,
So
bars.
yeah.
Well, I've been practicing.
You guys are killing me. So I was actually working in finance before I went into broadcasting. I was working for one of the big 5 banks. And then as I was in university, I found my passion and finished school. And in broadcasting, you don't start off in the biggest market in the country, which is Toronto. You have to kind of go outside of the city. So for me, my first opportunity, that came in a far-flung place that I never heard about when I got the call. And that was in Northwest BC, a town called Smithers. Population 5,000.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't know where it was on the map. I've never been west of Ontario. I just knew that it's an opportunity. And when I was in school, my professor said, whatever job opportunity you get, you say yes.
You take it and go.
Exactly. You know about this. You know all about that. So I took it and I went. I packed my 2 suitcases, 3 hand luggages, and a backpack. Wore my goose jacket on my back because it could not fit in the suitcase. And I hopped on a plane 2 weeks later after getting the job offer and moved myself to BC.
I was gonna say, how did they find you?
So I applied. So as soon as I finished my program, you do a demo and you just send it out to everywhere or wherever there's an opening. You just send it out. And that's what I did, just sent it out.
The greatest thing in general, whether you come from radio or TV, is you create that air check, the demo, and you literally just harass people in their emails. You're like, oh, can you like take a listen of this? Can you watch this? Let me know your thoughts. Like, can you give me any advice? And that's kind of just the way you get in front of them and allow them to know that you even exist, right? Because you never know what will come. Yeah, for sure. You have to be thirsty or else you're not going to get anything. I definitely think that there's too many students who are in media that don't realize that they do have to leave, and you have to be brave enough to do that. What kind of feelings did you go through making that decision? Were you okay? Were you scared?
Oh man.
Were you?
Well, first off, I just wanted to know where I was going.
Yeah.
Because again, I've never heard of Smithers, and like I was pretty good at geography in like school, but like I didn't know Northwestern BC. I didn't know it was gonna be 4 hours away from Alaska. I didn't know it's like 5-hour flight to Vancouver and then another 2-hour flight north. You know, you have to do a layover. There's no direct flight from this city or this town to Toronto. So it was just like I just had to come to grips with that, come to terms with that, and then after also be able to be comfortable knowing that I'm leaving all my family, all my friends, and I don't know when I'm coming back.
Yeah. And let's be honest, where you are going is probably very Caucasian. And you probably stood out. I'm being nice. You're probably like one of 5,000, like one out of the 5,000 population of a black man in that city, like nothing. What are some things working and getting your first start and being a black man in such a small town that don't really have people like us? What are some things that you learned about yourself, dealing with others, and something that you took away from that?
Yeah, I learned how to cut my hair.
That's because there's no barbers out there.
I will tell you a story. I will never forget the day I was like, okay, there are 3 salons because that's all they have is salons in this town. And I was like, okay, let me go into this one salon. I went to this one salon and I was like, I really need a haircut. I mean, I brought my friends for my going away present, bought me a T-liner. Oh, so my liner was always fresh, but the hair was just getting wild. You know, it was getting like we were rocking an afro on the TV in Northern BC. If you see the photos, you're like, wow. Woo. And I didn't know about the brush curl then, you know, so it was just full out, pick out, and that's it. Anyway, so I walk into this salon. I'll never forget it. There was this black woman in the salon. I was like, oh my gosh. It was like the first time seeing a black person in months, you know? Yes. And so I look at her, I'm like,
you can cut my hair.
Yeah. I walk up to this girl, I'm like, smiles brimming. I'm like, oh my gosh, can I come and sit in your chair? I need a haircut. She's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I don't know how to cut our hair.
Girl, what? You got one job. And that's to learn how to cut our hair first.
I looked at her. I said, let me splash some hot water, see if that black is going to come off of you, because that's not okay. How do you not know to cut your old people's type of hair? And you're working at a salon? No, that's fraudulent.
You need to learn.
It was fraudulent. And so I just sit in this next woman's chair, the owner of the shop. She was a white woman. She was really nice, but she didn't know what she was doing. And I was trying to explain to her, okay, use this razor and just try to trim down. And she's like trying to use scissors and all these things. And she's like, oh, I think I'm doing a good job. I just remember sitting there and like, that was probably one of the lowest moments, because I was like, for a guy, especially a black guy, black man, your haircut is everything. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that's the one thing we have.
That's all we have.
And a good pair of teeth.
That's it. That's what we
Yours is looking pretty good, buddy.
Thank you, my guy. Thank you. It's funny because back in high school, we went to the same high school.
Yeah, we should preface that. We know each other.
Yes. And it's funny because even when I was living in Manitoba, I had to learn to cut my own hair too, because there's nobody there. Yeah, I was living amongst like natives and only white people. Nobody could cut my hair. Back to the high school thing. So did you know back then in Mayfield that you wanted to get into broadcasting?
I didn't know. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I knew that I had a passion a little bit for acting, because that's what I went there for. Mayfield was an arts high school. So I went there for drama, but I wasn't sure what exactly I wanted to do. Part of me also wanted to go into business and be a CEO of a company. Like, that was always a passion of mine. So I didn't know what type of business. And so I kind of found that passion when I went to university. And then after, I was in a stream that I actually didn't love. And then the idea just kind of formed out of, despair of like, what am I good at? Like, what do I like to do? What fuels me? What lights my fire?
And did you ever think it was going to be news?
I always loved news. Like, I grew up watching news, watching CNN. Dwight Drummond, Marcy Ian, those are 2 people I used to watch when I was younger. And I always thought, like, for Dwight Drummond in particular, I would be like, wow, this guy is so cool. He's on the news and he's wearing an earring and a big dutty, silver earring. Yeah. You remember watching Dwight Drummond? Yeah, on City, and I used to be like, this guy is so cool. Yeah. So when I started to go in, I was like, I want to be like Dwight. Like, that guy is a cool guy. And to this day, he's a cool guy, as is Marcy. Yes. Just as nice, warm, there for you, mentors. It's so nice when you see people who, you feel like there's something, when you watch them on screen and they're actually like that in person. Yeah, it's the best feeling.
So after Smithers, did you go to Barrie after that?
So
Barrie, I remember going on World Star one day, like maybe 5-6 years ago. We got to talk about this. I remember going on World Star like 5-6 years ago. Yeah. And I'm scrolling down World Star. This is where World Star was super popping. Yeah. And then I'm looking through these thumbnails. I'm like, wait a second, is that Brandon? In the thumbnail, he's standing
also,
like
Brandon been viral. Yeah. He's not new to this.
Yeah. It's something in his DNA.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. I just try to do my job and do a good job.
I'm seeing this guy like in the middle of the winter, and the thumbnails, I click it. I'm like, this has to be Brandon. I click it. I'm like, oh my God, this is Brandon. And he's covering a story about somebody finding $100,000 inside a TV.
Oh, wow.
Those old TVs, though. The ones with the big back. Yes. I'll never forget that story.
I'm trying to think, like, who still got one? Maybe they're, like, hiding some money. If you still have that, there's a reason.
Yeah. So what was it like to know that I was on there?
No, what was it like to cover that story?
Oh, to cover that story. Well, I don't know. So in Barrie, for example, so all these small markets that I worked in, you're a video journalist. So basically you do everything, meaning that you shoot your own story, You voice your own story. You edit your own story. Yeah. You're in it. You're doing it all from top to bottom. You're writing your own web articles after.
And even posting it.
Like it is like a lot of work.
But it's a great thing because those positions allow you to learn so many other skills that are transferable, even if you do work outside of TV.
100%. And you appreciate people, not just the folks in front of the camera, because there's a whole team. Yeah. Shout out to the team. Shout out to the team. Shout out to the team. Because they're the real ones.
They matter.
Well, they matter. Yeah. We matter. The team matters. The team matters.
Whole squad.
Yeah, that story. I didn't know what was going to happen with that story. I thought that was the craziest story when I got that story, when I found that story, and I was like, oh my gosh, who finds $100,000 in the back of a TV? First and foremost.
And returns it.
So first off, okay, like, the Rex in me was like, that guy's an idiot. Okay,
like, are you dumb? Are you stupid? Are you dumb?
Both. Because you should have got to invest that, triple that money or quadruple that money, make that into $1 million, then return it back. Or buy some real estate. Like, my God, that was the perfect time 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, even booming.
No, but good. Shout out to the real ones with a good heart. Because, give and it shall come back to you. And like, karma's a real thing, right? So hopefully that guy ends up winning the lottery someday. But I don't know. I mean, to give back $100,000. I mean, not even take a $10,000 or something like that. No, I'm joking, guys. I'm joking. Give back what you find, though.
Like, your officer only found the $20,000 in this TV for some reason.
I don't know where it came from. Like, it just.
Yeah. No, that was a crazy story. It was a fun story.
So, so how long did it take you before you were able to get out of Smithers and kind of escape that and go to the next spot?
So Smithers was an interesting job because Northwestern BC is very remote. So our actual station was located 150 kilometers closer to the coast in a city called Terrace. So, and then you have remote VJs located in different cities in Northwestern BC. So you had a remote VJ in Prince Rupert, and then you had a remote VJ in Smithers, which is more inland. And there's only 2 people in the office, a salesperson for the company and myself. And so I was in Smithers for about 3-4 months, and then I got promoted to the Terrace position. So I moved to Terrace, which is also in Northwestern BC. And then that position allowed me to do more things, but I was also at home base for our small little station. So I was there for 6 months in Terrace, and then so in total I was in Northwestern BC for about 9-10 months, and then I got a job offer in Regina, Saskatchewan for Global, and so that's where I ended up going next after that.
You started coming back east slowly getting
but
close to home.
A direct flight, a direct flight that costs half the amount that a flight costs to go up to Northern BC.
But the great thing about your story is that you weren't gone for that long. So many people, when they get into this position where they're like, okay, I have to leave if I really want to pursue this, they think they have to be gone forever. And it's like, you don't. You get in, you go in with a plan, with a vision, like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to learn this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to get this awesome demo reel, and then I'm going to bounce. I'm going to move on to the next opportunity. And for you, you're able to continue to get closer to your main goal of just being able to be home. How long did you end up staying in Regina for?
Just under a year as well.
See? And then Toronto, then Barrie, and then Toronto.
And then Toronto,
So you've moved a couple of cities. Do you think that you would ever move again? Do you think that you finally found the place that you just want to be like, no, I want to stay here forever?
I don't know if I can stay in Toronto forever because I don't know what the future holds, and you never know what opportunity comes knocking. Because listen, a check is a check.
Hello.
I love a good check, a big check. But right now I'm happy to be home. I'm happy to be back with friends. I'm happy to be in a city where my mom is. Like where my family can turn on and watch, and like just be back home. Like I was gone. I know it wasn't a long time, but they were like pivotal years, like early 20s, and you're just like, you
miss that.
Yeah, you miss the clubs, you miss going out, the events. Like there's nothing like Toronto, in this country.
And being in those small cities are for sure going to impact your social life because like not as much goes on, but you're back. How did your mom feel? Like what was her reaction or feelings, if you know, when she first seen you on TV? So your first broadcast.
Oh man, well, it was really cool because when I jumped from Barrie, I jumped to this national show called Your Morning on CTV, which was a pretty big jump. It was like, because Barrie's like considered like a medium-sized market. So like the fact that they pulled me from there to go on their national show was like a pretty big deal. But the intro segment, like the first day that they introduced me, they recorded like this background of getting to know Brandon. And I told like the producer for that segment, I said, you have to make sure my mom is in there. So she was actually a part of that intro segment. So it was really cute.
She's probably so proud.
She was, and she teared up in the thing. And of course she talked about God because she's very Christian.
Yeah,
so.
You gotta throw in God in there. Hey, a lot of us won't be here without him.
Yeah, listen, we are blessed and highly favored. So big up the big OG. For sure. Because listen, there are some people, yeah, the world is tough. The world is tough right now.
Yes, it definitely is.
The world is really tough.
How has... You can go.
Yeah, I was going to say, and realistically, you have to trust the process, too.
Yeah.
Like, you're a testament to that. You went from high school, you went to do a program at York, and then you went all the way to Smithers, then you went to Regina, then you went to Barrie, and now you're back in Toronto, now you found a home. And I think people have to understand that life is going to throw those sort of obstacles at you all the time, right? All the time.
Day,
and it's about how you adapt and how you have to be agile to those sort of situations.
Exactly.
And I appreciate your struggle. I've been seeing it, and I appreciate that.
And thank you, man. Thank you. That actually...
don't cry now. Don't get emotional, guys, okay? But 2020 is also a testament to that. Like, we've all been throwing so much stuff this year, and you being on the forefront of it and being around everything, dealing with COVID, Black Lives Matter, and everything in between, how have you been able to cope and get through and make sure that you're taking care of you? Because I know from the radio side, when you have to speak about these crazy things, it's draining. Because you have to constantly be up to date on it. So how have you been able to deal? And
I don't know. I'll be honest. Some days I think I'm the type of person that I overwork and then try to distract myself. But taking care of the mental is like really important, especially as like Black people and like people of color. That's something we do not talk about enough, especially within our own communities. And like mental health is a real thing. And like this year has been like one of the toughest years. I know a lot of people feel like they wish 2020 never happened, but part of me actually is happy that it happened, because I don't think the normal that we were living in was not benefiting healthy. Enough people.
Yeah.
It was only benefiting select amount of people and certain people. So I think we needed to reimagine, what do we want our new normal to look like? Unfortunately, we're seeing, of course, way too many people dying. This pandemic has been just unfathomable, but it has allowed people to sit back for a second and really think about what matters. And are we doing things the way we should be doing? Are we treating people the way that they should be treated? And starting to question things, because I don't think if the world had that moment of pause, we wouldn't be reflecting and actually seeing the injustices that so many people go through on an every single day basis.
Facts.
So for me, that's what motivates me and drives me and helps me just to not get too sad about the tragedies that continue to happen every single day, because I try to remain hopeful and optimistic that we're going to be better out of this than we were before this. But it is still a struggle, because these stories are difficult. They're heavy and they're hard. Yeah,
I really commend you guys. There's a few of you guys, you and both the Kaylas, because I see you guys are young, Black, and you guys just show up every single time. Have you ever felt like you needed to be absolutely the best, better than everybody else? I know that sometimes I have felt that. I know that a lot of Black women have felt that. But have you felt that pressure as well, that you needed to outperform your peers?
100 every day. Every day. Because at the end of the day, I mean, tell me what other Black men are, there's only literally in news for a young Black man, there's only one other person on air in Toronto. His name is also Brandon. Shout out to Brandon Rowe. He's one of my good buddies. Like, we work together in Barrie, actually. And he works for City TV. I know I'm shouting out my competitor, but it is what it is. Yeah. And he is tremendous. He is excellent. Like, he is so talented. But there's only two of us in our age demographic. The other two, Nathan Downer, who's the anchor at CTV Toronto. And then you have Dwight Drummond, who's the anchor at CBC Toronto. So there's only four.
Yep.
Like, it's ridiculous that there are so few.
It's cutthroat industry.
It's cutthroat, but it's also like you're kind of like, I don't know. Oh, and there's Tyrone. Oh my gosh, sorry, Ty, my bad.
Yeah, but, totally forgot.
Shout out to Ty, who's on ETOP. Yeah. So there's 5. Yeah. But
and
still on one hand.
Else, sorry. But still, at the end of the day, even if there was a 6 or a 7, that's still not enough.
No.
We don't have enough, and that's all throughout Canada. And I think that's one of the biggest problems that we do have for being in a country that is so diverse, that we don't get enough opportunities in media to be represented at all.
It's a big deal because too often, especially, I mean, people who, I met people in Northern BC that never had met a Black person in their life. That's
mind-blowing to me.
Meaning that what they see from you for myself is what they're naturally going to think that all Black people are like. Like that's... It's a lot of pressure. It's good, but it also can be like, whoa, that's just way too much. And that should never be on the person. That should really be on them to try to educate themselves. But that's what you go through when you're on, there are so few, even for yourself. How many Black women, for example, were in radio? Exactly. And that's another issue. It's just not okay.
There's barely a handful.
Yeah.
For real. Right. And it's and for me, even with my journey and me trying to apply to these jobs now, and I send my demo reels to program directors, I've been literally told, you have too much for here. Canada is too bland for your sound. You're too eclectic for it.
Oh, and I hate when they try to say that.
And it's so what am I supposed to do? Just give up my dreams because y'all don't want to accommodate? You guys don't want a little spice in your life? Cool.
And these people need some spice.
They do. And you bring the spiciness all the time. You blurt out sometimes. So you've gone viral for saying loud. You've gone in referring to weed. You've gone viral because, what'd you say? The Dutty Storm. What other viral moments? Because I know there was more.
Just yesterday, weren't you at a haunted house or something? You're like, he dead?
They put me in positions where they don't want the realness. Don't put me in positions where you ain't gonna do that, right?
But it's so beautiful that we get to be able to see the true you. Your authenticity is coming through, and that's why so many people are gravitated to watch you. I see people on social media who are filming these things. It's first of all, why y'all filming him? You're just waiting for him to say something. You know at this point that Brandon's gonna say something. That's why they always catch it. And they're wait, I know Brandon's gonna say something, but they literally turn on the TV to be able to see you and the way that you present the news, because you give it to us in a fun and engaging way, even if it's the most crappy situation ever. So
thank you guys.
Thank you for that.
Yeah,
we appreciate.
No, you're definitely shaping the culture. So for these young viewers that are out there that are looking at you and are aspiring to be like you or in your footsteps, what would you say to them, or how would they go about sort of going along on this journey to sort of end up where you are?
If they want to get into broadcasting or just whatever dreams.
Broadcasting. Media.
You know what?
There's a lot of people out there with communications degrees.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're gonna do with them.
Yeah.
Nothing.
But there's a lot of opportunity. No, it's true. I mean, the media industry is going through a tough time right now.
Yeah.
But there are always going to be jobs. That's the thing. There's always going to be jobs. There's always going to be a demand for news. But sometimes it's finding your own innovative way. Sometimes it could mean starting your own thing at the same time. There's a market for
creating
that.
your own brands. There's so many opportunities that come from that.
Right?
Like a YouTube series.
You could do that too, right? At the end of the day, people are moving digital anyway. They're moving online. So maybe if you can't find the opportunity in the traditional space, that doesn't mean you don't do your own thing. And trust me, there's economic value out there. There's economic opportunities to do it like that. I know it's the radio, TV thing, the traditional thing. It's but I want to be on TV or I want to be on radio. But at the end of the day, you can still have the same. You can still make the same impact, make the same waves, have the same amount of clout. Maybe even more. Exactly. So I guess my advice would be find what your passion is, whether that's news, whether that's entertainment, and really try to find it. Don't just do news because you think you need to do news, or don't just do entertainment because you think you should be doing entertainment. Find what actually lights your fire, because what you're passionate about, that will, transmit through the screen. That would transmit through the screen.
And then even trying to find the niches, because HDTV is a real thing. So if you're into home decor, real estate, think about that as an avenue. If you're really into business and finances, there's analysts that come on all the time that are experts in that, but they're also experts in presenting and being in front of a camera, radio, etc. So find a niche too. You don't have to settle for music.
And don't be afraid to get uncomfortable. Sometimes you got to take a big risk for big reward, Whether that's moving out to Timbuktu or
Smithers.
Right? It could be doing that or whatever circumstance. But also, you got to put in the work and know that it's a competitive industry. So you got to be watching what other people are doing, how did they become successful? What are their, things that makes, them spark? Look at everybody's presentation. Like I read a lot of news. I watch a lot of news because I need to know, what are my competitors doing? Who else is successful? How are they presenting? What are they researching? What are they? You got to study. You got to study your competitors.
And did you have to like perfect your craft, like work on tonality and little things like that?
Well, for me, like when I first started, if you ever look at my demo tapes from when I first started to now,
I want to see. You brought it up. I'll share mine if you share yours.
Would you actually?
Yes, I would.
Mine's horrible. We gotta air them in M2M.
Ooh.
Come on, for the
I don't know. We'll just do that over drinks separately off camera. We'll take that offline. But yeah, like it took a while for me to get comfortable in my own skin. But when you first begin this journey, it's like you feel like you have to be like this.
Impersonate other people.
Yeah, and like you have to be like, they put on a news voice, you got to do the thing. And then over time, as you gain confidence and you gain experience and you find to
yourself.
Yeah, you move into being yourself.
Yeah. And also you also have to think about it like sports, right? LeBron James goes in and he puts in the reps. It's the same thing for like if you're working in media. The more breaks you do, the more live hits you do, the better you're gonna get. And you want to do as many as possible so that you can start like operating in your best
exactly level. You got to be the best.
That was a personal question. I'm just learning. I'm just asking for my own benefit.
Okay.
We got to perfect our crafts over here, right?
You could have just texted me. I could have
he's like I could have just like answered it any day.
No, people need to know too. Come on.
It's true.
Okay, so at the end of every episode, we give a book of the day. You brought the book today.
I did. So this one is called Never Split the Difference. I'm still actively reading it, so I haven't not finished it. I'm going to be very transparent.
Thank you. Transparency.
I always keep it transparent. I'm not even going to lie, because if I try to BS this, I know you're going to come with some good questions, and I know Tweet's going to do the same thing, and then I'm going to be looking here like a foo-foo, and I'm like, no. But this book, I mean, I'm about a quarter into it, and when I tell you it's changing my perspective, and like this is about negotiating and like how to like seal a deal. And in life, everything we do is about sealing a deal. What you guys are doing right now in terms of asking me questions, you're trying to seal a deal. You're trying to get the best answer out of me.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's everything. It's not just about contract negotiations, it's about life negotiations. What if you're in a situation like with a partner, or maybe you're dating a girl or you're dating a guy, and you're like, you want something out of that guy, or you want something out of that girl, It's like everything is about negotiating. This is like, this book is opening my eyes. So I got to be able to finish it.
Yeah.
But right now I feel inspired reading this book. So
sick. It's written by an ex FBI negotiator.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Because I read it.
You read the entire book?
I read the entire book.
Okay. So let me ask you a question. Let me put you on the spot.
So it's called, what is it? Never Split the Difference, Negotiating as If Your Life Depended on It by Chris Voss.
Yeah. Okay, and never accept the first offer you get at a job. Just putting that out there. You always negotiate.
Women, like ladies, when somebody gives you a job offer, do not accept that, okay? Don't be afraid. Just be like, try to get some more money.
Yeah, ask for more.
Just ask and see what happens. The most are going to be like, nah, like this is what we have and that's that. And then you take it, but you never know. You might luck up and come out big. So.
Exactly.
Yeah. Always negotiate. After every episode, at the end of every episode, we also end with a quote of the day. So do you have one?
Yeah, I do have one.
Oh, all right. Great.
If you don't love you, who gonna love you, boo?
Uh-oh. So whose quote is this?
It's mine.
Okay. That's the quote of the day.
Copyrighted it all. Copyrighted it all.
He about to make merch and he's gonna put it on his t-shirts with the rest of the sayings that he said. Like Dusty Storm, you really should have trademarked that or something and put it on a t-shirt.
I know, I should have.
You should have
some work
restrictions.
That's why.
Because they all want to control you. Got you.
That's another topic.
That's another topic for another episode. Yeah, I'll take that offline. I love my job. I love my chats.
Yes. Keep him employed. Honestly, thank you so much for coming and joining us, Brandon Gonez. And that's another episode of Millennials to Millionaires. I'm Alicia Ace West.
I'm Tweet to your state.
Thank you.